Recently, a subscriber asked me to audit his Klaviyo account. To be honest, I'm glad to do it because he said that he watched my videos to improve his open rate and then his submission rate on the pop-up. And right now, I'll be auditing his account to see how we can make even more revenue from his Klaviyo. I haven't done this before. I've just quickly skimmed through the account. So I'm going to walk you through everything I'm going to do step by step. And this is usually how I do these audits and how I dive into specific Klaviyo accounts. So let me open up very quickly a Google Doc. This is gonna be a very simple audit. Again, I don't like to overcomplicate things. Do 100 points checklist because I don't think they're really useful. I really want to focus on four key main areas that I always focus on. Let me just type in the name audit. And now, as I mentioned, I'm gonna be focusing on four key main areas of any email marketing strategy, which is deliverability, then it's growth, flows, campaign. That's really it. You don't need to go super in depth into segments. If he has this many segments or that many segments, it's usually gonna fall under campaigns anyways. So yeah, let's get started with deliverability. Normally you want to have play with deliverability data, Google Post Master Tools, and then if it's really bad, then you can run it through apps like Lookups or GMS. But now I'm just gonna very quickly, looking at these, it already seems to be fine. But usually I just go to the dashboard, overview dashboard, and 30 days is usually not enough. I like to look at last 90 days or last 3 months, just because 1 month, in my opinion, it can be worse, it can be better. There's always going to be fluctuations, but overall, the open rate had was 48% in December, then 53 in January, 56 in February, and now right now I'm gonna ignore March mainly because if you send a campaign, then it's normal that you won't get high open rates instantly within 1 day after sending it. Let's say so, the data might be manipulated. That was for the campaigns. Click rates seem to be a little bit low, but again, I don't like to comparing to benchmarks because every single business is different, every single brand is different. I really like to look at the open rates, because this is an indication, okay, are we landing in spam or not, right? Then another thing I look at is flows performance. So flows open rate it's okay, it could be better. So we're gonna do a deeper dive in that probably because it's not terrible, right? 40% is decent, but I like to see 45 to 50% open rate on flows at least. And then let me see. Okay, we don't have this dashboard, but I also like to add the cart which gives us a breakdown of the deliverability per domain because that's important. In some cases, you might have nice open rate, in theory, but in the truth is that, for example, would be quite low for Gmail, but other inboxes would be inflating it. Right now, if we look at the whole deliverability for those most important inboxes, is looking very solid. So for deliverability, I would say it's looking fairly good, right? One more thing I wanted to see is the flows open rate and exactly what's going on there because there's something definitely a little bit off. So let me go to flows performance detailers, software recipients. Okay, so the welcome flow revenue is low. I'm gonna go into that right now. Okay, but then you see sunset and engaged flow. So to be honest, I used to run this flow and I was suggesting it and also implementing for all of our clients. But right now I stopped doing it exactly for this reason. So if you have a flow that is super unengaged and you send email to those people, the chances of them opening are extremely low. So in my opinion, it doesn't make sense to have this flow. Again, I used to have it, but over time, all those inbox service providers like Gmail, Yahoo, Hotmail, they became more strict with how they treat engagement. And if they see that we're sending emails to someone who is already not engaged, they will punish you with low open rate or spam folder. So I would pause this flow right away, because yeah, this is in terms of the recipients, his fourth biggest flow, and it has extremely low open rate. It's extremely low. So yeah, because other than that, other flows look okay. Abandoned cart 43%, that's fine. Welcome flow could be improved as well. So the sunset flow, yeah, and you have more than one email in this flow, which is even worse. You can see whenever I was recommending this flow, I would say do one email maximum because more than one is just gonna destroy your deliverability. And this is the perfect example where you have 3% open rate on the first email, and then you have 1.6 and then 0%. So this is why, again, if you ever want to have this flow, make sure you have one email because the open rate is diminishing on every single email after the first one, especially if it's within 8 days. So for the deliverability, pause, sunset, unengaged flow. And then I'm gonna, I have a separate video on how to clean your list with segments only where you remove inactive subscribers. There's gonna be, it's gonna be linked. I'm gonna link it probably here as well. Clean list by using segments from my other video. Okay. So pause this flow. I'm not gonna touch it because I'm auditing right now, so I don't want to touch anything. But pause this flow is destroying your deliverability and over lowering the open rate like for all the emails, right? Because this is the fourth biggest flow and the open rate is 5%. So if we turn this off, then probably the average open rate would already go up to like 40, maybe even 3, maybe even 5%. So that in itself is gonna be a huge improvement. And now let's see what's going on with the welcome flow. So first of all, I like to look at the filters. This is fine. In terms of place order 0 times, okay. I would add bounced email 0 times since starting the flow. So let me just put it under the flows. And I know that I wanted to cover list growth first, but that includes like the improvements for this flow right now are gonna have an impact on deliverability. So welcome flow, let's do, and then turn or add a filter bounced email 0 times. Since starting this, right? This is pretty much it. I really, really quickly want to look at the durability in terms of the bounce rate and subscribe rate. These are fine. Like, don't get fixated by these Klaviyo benchmarks. If your unsubscribe rate is technically fair, 0.35 is a good unsubscribe rate if you're sending emails frequently. If Klaviyo said recommended is less than 0.3, then probably you could send like 1 email per week and get away with it. But other than that, it's really, really hard. And I mean, spam compliance rate, it's good. Like for comparison, Gmail allows you to have spam rate of 0.3%. So it's technically like 30x more than Klaviyo allows you to, which is why I don't really like these benchmarks because yeah, they just seem to be quite often you can also easily manipulate these old metrics. So that's what I don't like specifically. I also always like to look at the like flows because spam complaint is fine, unsubscribe rate is fine, for the welcome flow bounce rate is fine as well. So bounces aren't an issue, unsubscribe rate is an issue. Yeah, it just seems like the open rate in general is quite low. Let me see why. Okay, so I mean, this is not bad. I personally prefer to send both email and SMS simultaneously, or maybe email first and then SMS after like 5 minutes, just like a follow up. But this is not terrible. You have open rate 40% on the first email, which is not ideal. Should be a little bit higher. And then the further we go, the lower the open rate. Okay, so for the deliverability, this is gonna be the biggest factor. I'd probably also start tracking deliverability and metrics in Google Post Master Tools. And this should be fine because like really his open rate is good. Like I'm not here to, talk bad about anything or like yeah, just try to find anything to improve just because. Yeah, it's fine. I mean, good job, we're having decent open rates. Again, ignoring this campaign because it was sent just a few hours ago, so the open rate will increase for sure. Okay. So this is the one thing about deliverability. Now, before I go into the flows, let me just cover very quickly this group. He mentioned that he used my video to create the pop-up, and I mean, seems like it worked. Over 8% conversion rate, not bad at all. Very nice job. Yeah, let me see the form itself. So yeah, I mean, you can clearly see he watched my video. If you don't know, like this is the exact pop-up I recommend you set up. And this is the perfect example. Why? Because the submission rate is 8%. Across the last like over 30 days. So it's very decent. And again, like he probably copy pasted what I'm showing you and teaching in the other videos, which is exactly what you should do. Like I'm teaching it for a reason. So if your pop-up isn't converting right now, implement something like this. Again, very nice. I will yeah, like very nice. Overall, very nice. This is fine. Yeah, this is fine as well. I would probably make if you're like doing an upgrade, I would probably make this a little bit bigger in terms of like I would make this part a bigger font and this one smaller font just because, right? Yeah, I mean this is fine. This is fine. Teaser is okay as well. I would probably make it bold as well. And see if it like doesn't hover any buttons on your website because sometimes brands are gonna have sticky add to button and this part could be hovering it, but if it is not hovering that, it's completely fine. Now let me see targeting behavior. 10 seconds, 60%. Yeah, I mean exactly what I'm teaching. So very very nice. Mobile only. This is okay. Excluding cards. Very very nice. Yeah, I mean the pop-up is looking fine. Again, a few things that you could implement is testing the discount code on the thank you page of the pop-up. So maybe test discount code on the thank you page of the pop-up. Plus button with dynamic link. What I mean by that is that you would have like a let me see what's his domain. It's a shame I didn't know this, but again, I already wanted to do this live with you. Yeah, so like he's doing it as well. So like this would be, for example, the dynamic link, right? Like maybe 15 or 10. And then I would have this button on the thank you page. And then this actually might decrease your email revenue, but it will increase your revenue overall and the code usage. Just because people have less friction, like they don't need to leave your website to get the code. They can do it right away by just claiming it here. So I would A/B test it, and then when you will be A/B testing that, I would for sure look at the revenue itself, right? Like the total revenue from each variation. This is the first test I would run, and then if you accomplish this test, then you can A/B test maybe. I mean, you could A/B test the offers, which is like the always a good thing to test. But then I would probably test time delays. Right now, you have 60% scroll or 10 seconds active on page. I would go to your average session time and then take like 25, 50, or 75% of your average session time. So yeah, like 25, 50, 75% of your average session time as a trigger. So example, if your average session time is 1 minute, you would test 15 seconds versus 30 seconds versus 45 seconds as your trigger. The reason behind it is sometimes if you have it too quickly, you might get more submissions but less qualified because people aren't sure what your website is about. They might need more time to scroll. So I would for sure make it a little bit longer. But yeah, this is another test you could run. And then, as always, offers. Maybe you could try some different designs where you kind of switch up the colors and whatnot. But overall, I really like the pop-up, and I mean, like, this is exactly what I teach because it works. Like, just make the offer super bold and clear. Double test having this. I'm not sure if you have tested that. Let me just very quickly see, but I don't think you have. A/B test results. Okay, no A/B test results. So I would also test this. So A/B test micro yes versus no micro yes. And again, this is not like his pop-up is doing terribly. Like you can see, it's doing over at 8%, which is very very nice. Like it's generating revenue, it's getting nice submissions. But these are things that you wanna still test to see if it's gonna improve. Like we're looking here to improve. But yeah, so far so good. I would say one thing I noticed is that you don't have the pop-up for desktop from what I can tell. So what I would do is just clone the existing pop-up and make it display on desktop and make it exit intent only, right? Because right now I'm not sure if this was like intended, but if not, I would make a separate pop-up to display only on desktop devices. So clone the current pop-up and make it desk only with exit intent trigger only because you're right now not capitalizing on the mobile, I mean desktop traffic. And again, like everyone talks about mobile traffic being so many, having like such a high percentage of users visiting your mobile devices, but desktop is still high. Like in some cases, it's like around 50%, which again is fairly nice. So that would be it for the list growth. Again, it's fairly nice. Really, it's looking very very good. So now let me get into the flows. I already started with the welcome flow. At first thing I like were the filters. Like that's what I will always look at. The filters, which is fine. Just very quickly in terms of the list growth, if he has double opt-in or single opt-in. Let me find the main list. Let's say it's gonna be newsletter sign up, settings, consent. Okay, he has single opt-in. That's fine. This is very good. So yeah, flows add filter to the welcome flow. Then I don't like these time delays. Like whenever you do time delay, I first of all would never do time specifically. Just because like if someone is signing up your email list at 10 a.m., it means they're active at 10 a.m., not 11:30. Like right now with the time delay that you have, it's kind of like guessing. So I would remove the send at specific time day and the day of the week as well, because everyone's schedule is different. I wouldn't do this for sure. This also lowers your deliverability because if someone signed up on Wednesday, then they're waiting like 6 days to get an email from you, the second one, which is not the case. I mean, it's just not ideal because I believe your AOV is quite low, so I for sure wouldn't do this. Um, Honestly, whenever we test the time delays, unless your AOV is like super super high, the faster ones are making it. I mean, they're just converting way way better. Let's just quickly switch the currency, but it's gonna be like $10 each. Yeah, like 10.30. So yeah, I mean 51. That's fine. 10.30, 103. This is okay. I can see AI being used. which is fine too. But yeah, I would remove this for sure. So remove the send at X day and Y time. Remove this at all. Like you don't need this. It's gonna just make everything worse, lower your deliverability, and like have less conversions in general. First thing, second one, I would make these time delays shorter. I would right away A/B test them. A/B test time delays 12 versus 24 hours instantly. This is the first thing, lowest hanging fruit. Because in this case, like people are waiting so much. Like if someone again signed up on Wednesday, they're waiting 6 days to get this email, and then they're waiting a week to get this email just because like it has to be Tuesday. So your whole welcome flow is gonna be spread out across like 2 weeks, and you're selling $10 item, which is just like too long, too long. Even for high OV stores doing like $400 or $500 per order, we're seeing faster time delays work better. So just make it way, way slower, and that should be fine. That's for the structure. Now let me dive into the emails. With SMS, having the emojis is fine. I would probably look if you can remove some of them, and maybe your like sends would be smaller, or like usage for text would be smaller, because like every single emoji is increasing your credits and how much it costs to send every single message. So I would think about removing those emojis, right? So try removing some of the emojis in MS. Not all of them, because I feel like this one's fine, but like right here, I don't believe you need both of them to be fair. So we could try removing them. Now let me go to the email itself. Okay, so first of all, I am personally not a big fan of having the same email background as your like email itself, because everything blends together. I really believe that if you made it white, it would stand out more. Just like to show you as an example, I'm gonna revert this soon. Um, I don't know where he did it. I think he did it in this section. Yeah. So if we make it, white or whatever, it will stand out more, and like you'll be dragged to this text specifically. But again, this is like my preference. You don't need to do this. I will remove it right away. What I will do though is remove the links in the header. Like no real reason to use them. Especially if you look at it on mobile. Like if you look at your mobile image structure, then someone sees your logo, they see three links, they see an image, and they need to find the code which is here, and they don't have any buttons. So yeah, like a lot of improvements to do over there. Remove those links right away, instantly. Then for the content itself, I would make the logo just a little bit smaller. Really, what the first thing you want to do in your welcome email always is show up the discount code as soon as possible. Like this is really the main thing you want to do. I don't want to say that nothing else matters, because it does, but the welcome code is the most important thing. Like this is what people signed up for. So remove those links. Um, yeah, let me do it. Email click one. Remove links in the header. Make logo smaller. To make it optional. Change email background color, and then yeah, make the logo smaller. Remove links, and then yeah, honestly, the first sentence you should have is welcome first name default mama. Use code beats10 at checkout to get 10% off, and have the button like below. That's really it. I mean, the image is fine, but you don't need it right away. The first thing you need to show always, always in every single welcome email, number one, is gonna be the welcome code and button to call the action. This is really it. So change the structure. Have the code plus button as the first thing people see, right? You would make it like instantly. And then other than that, I believe there's too much content and too much call to action, because you're talking about, introducing the discount code, which is fine. Your promise, it's fine. Then need support. And then again, like, you're asking people here to technically shop where there's no button. So like you don't have buttons. That in itself, that's, something you could improve for sure. None of your images are linked or have alt text, which is another thing. I'd probably compress them as well a little bit. So compress the images, add alt text plus links, especially right now where we have all of these Google updates and like Apple updates, and they have AI reading the email. You want to have alt text, because that's like an indicator of okay what this image is. Obviously, they have algorithms that are gonna, read what it is about, but alt text helps. So make sure you do this, especially for all of your images, because if you look at this email, the only really ways people can, the only ways where they can click is this like header bar, which is not ideal because it looks like text. Then yeah, like they can click on the discount code, then Facebook group, and then again Facebook group. So you have more links to the Facebook group than to your shop, to where people can actually buy. So this is again not ideal. I mean, this kind of email, it would be nice if it was in the post-purchase email, inviting people to the Facebook group. That would be very nice then. But other than that, I would remove probably this section and this section and have only this welcome, maybe one image, and then this section. So like, yeah, if you need some help, feel free to call me, text me, or email me or whatever, and that's fine. And then I would just probably, structure it a little bit better as well. Just add a bit more padding because everything seems to be so like cluttered. And I would remove the Facebook group. I know that is, unless it's your huge selling point where you actually convert a lot of people for the Facebook group, I would remove it right away and I would add buttons. Like that's the most important thing. You should have two buttons in this, like honestly, at least. And if you want to have those links for the store, have them at the very, very bottom of the email. So just create a footer of like, I'm not sure if you have like any icons that are being your USPs. Sometimes brands have them on the website. Um, yeah, but it seems like you don't have them, which isn't a bad thing as well. But I would just make the footer a little bit different. So I would make the footer where you have your logo, then you have three USB icons. So like, maybe produced in Australia, or yeah, like these are the icons I was referring to. I would instantly add these icons plus your logo, plus between 3 to 5 links in the footer below, like at the very end of the email, above the unsubscribe section, just so people can click, they see your USPs and so on. So I would make this email way, way shorter. Huge focus on the discount code and add buttons, like that's for sure. Add buttons. That's really, really important to have the button. That was the first email. Let me see the second one. But yeah, overall, this is what I would change. For subject lines, I'll probably change it as well because you have, repetitive subject line. So yeah, you can do discount inside in the previous like welcome to Tiny Beats Foods, or save 10% on your order, stuff like that. Sometimes like a small trick I like to do as well is make it like, for example, one discount inside. It's like, it's a little bit clickbaity, so I don't recommend you do this. But if you don't care about being clickbaity, then you can try it as well. But yeah, run this changes, change one of these, and then I would A/B test it. So like one thing would say discount inside, the other one welcome to Tiny Bits Foods, the other one would be 10% off inside, stuff like that. Just A/B test it for having a variety of those, in your welcome flow. Again, 1 day time delay maximum, no need to have it longer. Get the email time for every stage. Now here you need something to place as a default, just because if you don't have default and you're not collecting names on your pop-up, it will show up as like comma and then empty space. So you can have it mama as well. I believe you had it as mama in one of the emails, so I would add it for here for sure. And then preview text is always nice to have it as well. Very quickly, let me go through these emails. But yeah, the first thing I'm seeing here is already that like every single email that you have is different. Like this one is nice, okay, it's on brand and looks decent. It just, the structure isn't ideal, but overall it looks good. But if you look at this email, it's like a completely different brand sent it, and I think you have it like a little bit outdated. Yeah, because even the logo is old. So, and honestly, I prefer this kind of template where you have like this background color for your emails, and then everything is white and then black text. It's just easier to read. And I think I even read some kind of like data or studies showing that if people see black text on a white background, it converts better. So make sure you do it. I would make it bold if it's a button. Because yeah, like first of all, it's good that you have buttons in this email, but I would make it probably bold in terms of the, yeah, like right here exactly. But yeah, other than that, you don't really have congruency between these. I would probably add a bit more space between both of these. And then right now let me see what mobile looks like. Yeah, so mobile doesn't look terrible. It looks fine. But yeah, I would make them all the same style as your first email. So change the colors, change the logo to your new one, unless this is, something I'm not aware of, then that's fine. But I would change the colors, have like, the same branding across all of your emails, and that in itself should help. And yeah, make buttons bold, make them more like obvious. And yeah, you can see that sometimes when you have these, sections on desktop versus mobile, then they kind of can get messed up or you have two images um one to each other. So what you can do is just like change the way they're being stacked in Klaviyo. So if you would go to here or maybe even yeah, you have stacking to left or to right or no stacking. So if we go to mobile and right now we have stacking to left, right to left, you could change it to okay, it's not stacking, which is even worse. I believe it's because of the split itself. Okay, you would need to change it here. So what I will do on here is like first of all add like alt text and links as well. But then if you want the text to be first rather than having two images back to back, I would make it mobile stacking left to right, and this is how you fix it. Right now it's looking way better because you have some kind of structure, if you will. I would probably do the same thing over here where you have text, photo, text, photo, text, photo. I think it looks very nice. Again, I'm not gonna change anything unless you give permission, or you can do it yourself. But yeah, this is what I would do. So change mobile stacking to have the same structure across all of it. And this is no longer like email number one. It would be like emails like in general. But I believe it was also the case in email number one. So yeah, this would be pretty much all of the recommendations for the welcome flow. Again, just to improve the structure, have a more emphasis on the discount code. And I, for example, don't see the discount code being added here. So I would add it here too, just because people tend to forget, especially if you have such a long time delays. But in all of those emails, I would add the discount code that you gave them in the first email, and then just keep promoting it. But yeah, these are the changes I would make. Again, make sure that you fix your subject lines and preview text. But this is overall it. So the first email is looking very nice, and I mean, for example, I love this. Subject line is super simple. I would probably add some preview text. But yeah, other than that, you can implement all of the changes that I just talked about to your other emails in the welcome flow, and that would be nice. I would probably think about adding some more emails, like maybe showing some reviews, some social proof. I mean, you have images of babies using your product or eating it, which is great. But I would add some more social proof. I would add in some reviews. I would add in some maybe you have USPs, which is fine. But yeah, I would add just for example reviews, maybe some guarantees, maybe even the process of like how you make these meals, because I think it's gonna be very important to all of the moms. So like our process behind creating these, and that would be very nice to have this in the welcome flow. So yeah, I would make it longer as well. Now let me go to the flows and see what you have live. So you have the welcome flow, you have an engaged one, which I talked about. It's better if you just pause it or delete. Ebook, it's fine. Back in stock, it's fine. Wholesale, okay. Abandoned checkout, okay. Yeah, I can see right away you don't have all of the flows. So let me just type in. Okay, something weird happened here. Okay. Yeah, that's strange, but yeah, let me do like that. Missing flows, abandoned cart, browse abandonment, side abandonment. So these are all like key flows pre-purchase. You have welcome flow and abandoned checkout, not cart, just like to clarify. Probably have the metric added to cart. Yeah, you do. So you need to have the abandoned cart flow as well. Uh, abandoned cart, browsable inside abandonment. If you have a lot of bounces on the collection page, I would also do collection abandonment, because Klaviyo added this metric recently. Viewed collection. And yeah, you have some traffic over there in the last 30 days, like 30 people per collection. So that'll be fine. I have a video on that as well. But yeah, you actually have more collection views in some cases than the product page views. So for sure, have this flow. It's gonna help you. Just make sure it's being excluded from some other flows, and there's no overlap. Window shoppers, so very high intent buyers. I have a video on that which was fairly new, but this flow works well. And then in your case, you need replenishment, which you have. That's great. Then do you have win back flow? You don't. So you need customer win back. So in terms of like products or brands like yours where you have a product that can be replenished, replenishment and customer win back are gonna be almost the same, and you're gonna cover pretty much the same objections, with the main difference being that win back is like further down the line, right? Like it's gonna be later than your replenishment. So this is one flow, and then 1 year anniversary. I think this is a very nice angle always for any brand, but especially for yours, where you are in the like baby slash kids niche, where mothers love like anniversaries and whatnot. This has been our first year together. I think it's gonna work very well. So try it out. Now let me. This is like for missing flows that you need to have. Again, I have a video on every single one of these, so you can also go through it and watch it in general if you don't know how to set them up. Let me just very quickly go through all of the flows that you have. And in some of these you would also need SMS. So like for example, one card would be email plus SMS. Browser development again, email plus SMS. Winback, email plus SMS. For 1 year, you could also do email plus SMS. Honestly, it's very nice. Back in stock flow, okay, one email. This is completely fine. The wait is over. Good news. Yeah, I mean, don't overcomplicate it. But again, I would make sure. I don't know what's your current logo. I would assume the one I saw in the welcome email number one. Spend some time and update all of your logos and like format in general because the font over here is different as well, and it's in my opinion at least way harder to read. So I would use the font from your welcome email number one across all of those emails. Now, abandon cart. I mean abandon checkout. This is okay. Yeah, 30 minutes. Okay, you have abandoned checkout email. You see, yeah, I mean, I covered the branding, so like, make sure that the branding is the same across all of these. You have good link. Yeah, I mean, honestly, this email is completely fine. Like, it's super simple. I would maybe test having like a dynamic section, but other than that, I like this email. It's very nice. Very simple. I would again just update the branding and change the font because I personally don't like it. It's very hard for me to read it. But yeah, I would probably add it. But yeah, other than that, very nice email. Looks very nice. You have this email. I mean, this SMS paused. Not sure what is the reason, but make sure you do it and make sure that this link works as well. But I would have this SMS turned on. You have split for AOVs, which is great. I like it a lot. But you have quite low of an open rate here, which is weird. Okay, so this email in itself, it's gonna require a lot of work. I'm just gonna quickly see if they're the same. I would assume they're the same, but you have a different code, right? 10% off for delivery, and then a question. Okay, yeah. Just very quickly to this email, I would add a link like right here in where you have the empty space. I would add the link for the like checkout. So yeah, like this email is about helping, which is great. Like, I love the email. It's really nice, like because it's simple and it just works if you offer help. But I would add a link or like a PS. If you're ready to complete your purchase, click here to recover your card for checkout, and that's really it. So yeah, remove time delay as well. No need to have it 3 days. I would make it 1 day. You have 4 emails in the flow, which is okay. It's not terrible. But yeah, this email is going to require a lot of work in my opinion. First of all, you want to move all of the content into one section in Klaviyo because your like email size is gonna be smaller. So let me just very quickly move or abandon cart. Move all sections into one. That was the first thing. Have And like this is gonna be okay. This is gonna be across all of the flows. Not here, here, here. Okay. Have a consistent branding and font across all of your emails because right now they just seem to be like all over the place. So I will just fix it because I think that in itself would help you. Then again, move all of the elements to your one section in Klaviyo, and then the structure is a little bit confusing. I think. Okay, so this is fine. I just feel like this is very hard to read, like yellow font, like yellow background. I would probably again make it like easier to read, so either white background or some other color that makes it super easy to read. Other than that, this is okay. You might consider adding a logo, but if not, this is like not a big issue as well. More padding here, the link works fine. Then again, this is very hard for me to read because this is like there's no contrast in my opinion, so I would probably make it like a different maybe font color, maybe add some overlay like black overlay onto the image so it stands out more, something like that. But this is okay. This is I would add more padding between those like vertical lines just because it seems again to be super cluttered. So I'd make it like that. Usual shopping, yeah, like I mean this is okay. I would probably move the God any questions section a little bit lower, like at the very end of the email. But this is fine. I guess this is one of your like normally whenever I have abandoned checkout flow, I like to have one call to action back to cart. I'm fine with having contact us because people can have contact, especially when it's something as sensitive as food for your baby. It's a super sensitive topic that you need to do some research on. So this is fine. And in your case specifically, I'm okay with having this link as well. It's again, I'll probably add more padding between those sections and make the whole branding and design a little bit more on brand, if you will. So that would be this email. And I would probably play with the subject line as well. Like you left your food behind, stuff like that. Just because this is like the default Klaviyo subject line, so I would make it a little bit different. Um, and yeah, that would be helping you just get more conversions for sure. Same would apply here. So like this is the exact same email just you're giving a discount. I would make the font a little bit different, just to make it easier to read. And other than that, I would make the exact same changes I mentioned before. And obviously have the abandoned cart flow as well on top of your abandoned checkout flow. For the replenishment reminder, I would play with time delays and A/B test them unless you have done this. But yeah, I would A/B test the time delays. Let me see. Seems like you had a consent SMS. Okay, so you didn't test it. I would A/B test time delays, faster versus shorter. I mean, you know better than me. When people are replenishing and like how many days they need to buy from you again. But I would just A/B test these time delays and see what actually is working better. This is fine. I mean, I'm not completely against like plain text emails. I guess these are really really fine. Um, yeah, I mean, actually, this is quite good. You know, I just don't think it's gonna be the same card unless you have some kind of like dynamic link, which I can see here. But overall, it's not bad. Like it's really really good. It's simple. Like that's really it. Like very very simple, and you have a dynamic section. I mean, if it's gonna work, I mean, yeah, it worked. So yeah, and you have a dynamic link for that. I mean, this is really great. I would probably add one more button here, like buy again or something like that. Other than that, it's cool. Like the angle from Amelia, from company XYZ, which is fine. And yeah, like having the angle of being helpful and like it's very easy for people to buy from you again, which I really like. Very good email. Very nice. And obviously you could make it, super fancy design, but if your whole brand is like about being, close to mothers and having like a community, having all your emails plain texts isn't a mistake. It's actually a good thing, and I'm like fine with that because I think it can work very very well, and you have good open rates on that as well. And this email looks good as well. I would probably make some changes here and there, but this is more kind of like a design based email. But again, if I look at this one and your other emails, there's like no consistency for me at all in terms of the colors, branding, layouts, all of this. So if I were you, I would probably suggest you kind of make all of them congruent. That would help for sure. Then whenever you have this kind of email where you promote a discount, have a discount right here and then button over there as well. So we have some empty space here. I would make the code here. So like use code XYZ, and then I would add a button here, and then I would leave it as it is. Click here to activate your 10% off. Yeah, I would probably make it like again a little bit more obvious. What does it like how it flows. Other than that, it's quite okay. Yeah, it's just I would add this code over here, right? And I know that you have like a dynamic code. So I would probably add it like make maybe the design a little bit different. Maybe like move this part here and like cut it off and have the code and then button. But yeah, this is what I would do for this email. Now let me go to the okay. You have only two, which is fine. I would probably make another reminder in 24 hours, being like, hey, your discount code expires in 24 hours. Just like a last call for this email, right? So for the replenishment flow, change the structure of email hashtag 2, add email hashtag 3, 24 hours after email hashtag 2. And these are like really the main, and also mistakes, but like things you can be doing better because overall it is converting, it is getting clicks. I would probably just change the structure for that and have the SMS probably earlier too, right? Like if you're targeting them with email, I don't see why you wouldn't target them with SMS 1 hour after. I think it would be completely fine to do this. But yeah, this would be it for the replenishment flow. Now back in stock are covered as well. So now customer thank you. You have a split between first time buyers and two time buyers, which is fine. With these emails, I like to make them instant. So instead of waiting one day, I would remove the time delay. So post purchase, remove 1 day time delay before email number one. This is fine. General community, exactly what I was talking about before. Wondering what to do. Yeah, I mean this is fine. You're giving them, like a video on how to use the product, which is really fine. Um, for people who, yeah, I mean you hit the reply. That's fine for better deliverability. I like it. Yeah, and then you're pretty much just selling more, which is fine because you weren't doing it before. Yeah, this is fine too. Yeah, I'll probably add a few more emails. Like probably this is where I'll talk more about the brand. So like, you made a good decision because our food is made by XYZ. So I will talk about your process a bit more and build the community just a little bit because like if you're buying a food for your kid, then obviously you need to trust someone quite a lot to do this. And like you have a lot of objections, like is it gonna be good? Is it gonna be healthy? Do they use some, weird chemicals or whatever that is gonna hurt my baby? And I know you don't, but like people who buy from you may not know this. So you need to communicate it. So before post purchase flow, add email about your process. This is probably where I'd also add an email about your story, even though you had it in the welcome flow, which is fine. I would still add it here just because it's really nice to like build this community, especially in your case where I believe like parents are like a huge community in itself, and they just love the parenting community because you're sharing your multiple tips and whatnot, which is completely fine. But yeah, this is what I would do. Probably some help and FAQ as well. I would do the referral program promos or refer friends. Like whenever someone is a parent, they most likely know other people who are parents as well. So promote referral program or rewards program. This is what I would do. Then ordering information. Okay, this was covered before. Buy a gift card. This is fine too. You have feeding information, but I believe you are sharing that. Okay, it's a paid one, so yeah, that's fine too. But you have blogs, so I would share these as well. Yeah, I would share these tips, that's for sure. Our story, again, I mentioned that you could add it as well. But yeah, other than that, it's looking very, very nice. Very, very, very nice in general. Like I would just add a few emails here and there. Again, this is the branding that, in my opinion, you should have across all of your emails with the changes I mentioned before. So make the logo smaller, remove those links, and then add them in the footer, like at the very, very end of the email, right? And I'm fine with having multiple CTAs in the post-purchase flow because people tend to click more, get to know brand a little bit more after they bought. So this is completely fine. Now, I don't want to make this too long, but now let me get into the actual campaigns. So you're targeting these segments 701 master all emails. Let me see what is master emails. And then seems like this is master emails. Okay, I just want to very quickly see how many profiles you're targeting. 2.4k. The campaign was sent to 1.7. Okay, so you have some kind of like 700 profiles you're not using, like fully using, which is okay. This one is engaged in the last 30 days. Okay, this is fine as well. This is master all emails. Okay, this is fine. So now you're targeting all email, which is 1.2.1k people. So you already can see that there's something off with like how many active profiles you have. I'll remove those inactive profiles. So people who aren't in any of those lists that you have here, I'll just create this segment and suppress those people because if you're not sending to them, you're probably overpaying for Klaviyo, especially after the recent changes. I would remove those people right away. And then one of the things that Anthony mentioned, like the owner of the brand, was that they were struggling with a little bit low click rate. So it usually comes down to your content and segments, but in your case, you're sending to fairly broad segments and hitting fairly good open rates. So I believe it's gonna be mainly about the content itself. Let me see the latest email. Um, yeah, I feel like, for example, at least to me, it seems a little bit like it was written by AI with so many icons. I would probably make them like maybe smaller or like less icons. Then again, I would remove those links, make the logo smaller. Other than that, it really comes down, in my opinion, to having better CTAs, right? Um, Seems like just people aren't clicking, so it could just be the case of having like not the right content, which is sending what people want to um want to get. The overall seems like you have really a lot of um, buttons. Like if you look at this email, I would get confused as to what do I click. Do I click any of these? Do I click that, or do I click these? I just think it's a little bit too much for people. I think I would maybe even remove the Facebook group. But I mean, again, if it's your big selling point, I would leave it. But for the campaigns, I feel like the structure just could be a little bit different. Like I would for sure remove this. I think that removing this in itself would help you. Then like a typo you missed I. Yeah, I think this is not terrible at all. It just I would probably make the buttons like don't have like one by one, that's for sure. And then the third this week this is okay. This is something I'd probably move upwards, so like above your logo, so that anyone can see this rather than scrolling all the way down. But this is it. Now let me see if you had any campaigns that had very, very nice clicks. Another thing in your case is that if you're sending to super small segments, like one person clicking can change your click rate by 0.1%. So that in itself is an important thing. But let me see, or actually let me sort it by top clicks and see if there's like any pattern for content, because it looks like the main problem here is gonna be the content. So this one had a lot of clicks. Okay, let me see why. Okay, so we're just introducing the new product. Okay, so one thing I might do, for example, is start doing those product features like you did for this one. And again, I guess that this one did so well because it was new. But I would follow the format of featuring those products one by one. Again, I would move this upwards, like a diverse first thing. Maybe make it even a bit smaller, and then make like product features one by one. Let me see another one that had a decent click rate. Again, something new, but you can see the pattern that whenever you have good clicks on the campaign, and some decent sales, usually it's gonna be whenever it's a featuring a meal, right? This one also did fairly well in terms of sales. So like what I would do is for sure just maybe change the angles a little bit and like once per week have a feature of a meal. So like meal of the week feature or like best selling meal of the week, something like that. Feature them one by one and then just have clear buttons. Maybe even try to have the buttons like a little bit upper in the email. So like when you would have this, I would remove the links. And again, like you're having those emails based on the plain text, which is fine. But I would make this a little bit smaller, maybe. And then yeah, you have a link here, which is fine. So this is another thing I would do. Just have the link in the first one or two paragraphs of the email. That in itself should help you and just get more clicks. Yeah, just follow the format that pretty much did well. So once per week, feature some kind of food. And again, like for example here, I would also hyperlink this like right away. We'll have like two links, one at the very, very beginning of the email that this someone is reading and they're already like hooked in. They can click on this and actually, see what is it about. And then have this link, this button, which is fine. Then again, I would really think about just making the background white unless you really, insist on having it your color, which is like purple-ish. Um, yeah, I would probably again add a link here, right? Like right away. Because I think that whenever someone opens the email, they're not gonna click on any of these. To be honest, you can have them again in the footer, and that will help because we've seen it happen over and over again with a lot of our clients. But maybe even for this, like I would probably make it shorter, like join referral program or refer a friend and then join Facebook group. And I would hyperlink all of them rather than being connected with, parents in our Facebook group. I would just make it like join our Facebook group, make them shorter and more to the point and more snappy. And yeah, follow the format of sending like featuring one email per week with the exact format here. So link here and link here. And then for blog articles, have your blogs linked within the first, let me see a blog. Have them linked within your first sentence or paragraph or within first or two paragraphs of the email, like again in this sentence, and then have the link here, and then move those links and to the very bottom of the email, and have them in the footer. And these are really the main changes I would make. And again, just start testing more content to see what sticks. Different formats, different angles, and see what works best. But yeah, these are the changes I would make. You're sending to pretty much whole list, which isn't terrible because you're getting good open rate. So I don't feel like you should make it, way smaller. And I think you resent the angle about Aaron, which is interesting because it's been like fairly recent, but it's already getting like more clicks than some of the other campaigns. So this is very, very nice. But yeah, these are pretty much the learnings or things that would implement in your Klaviyo account. And again, it's you can see like he's not doing terrible. Like Anthony is doing a fairly decent job. He's doing like almost 30% revenue from his Klaviyo. But I believe that if he implements all of what I just covered right now, it's gonna get way better. And put him in the higher range and to get him actually more purchases from these customers. Another thing I would do, just one last thing, is see if you have like subscriptions for your meals. You don't. So I would also consider having subscriptions. I believe these would help. Um, and yeah, essentially what everything I covered, you can just implement right away, and I believe that would help. Obviously, if you have any questions, let me know in the DMs as it's ready. But if you run a brand, if you're watching this and you're running a brand and you want an audit like this, let me know. I'm gonna do it for free. I'm gonna record it and explain everything in depth and show you what you can do, what you can change. You can comment in the YouTube comments or DM me on Twitter or just email me at conrad@venticmail.com and I'm gonna get back to you. You're gonna give me access. I'm gonna walk you through everything and you're gonna get the same exact in-depth audit that Anthony did, and I'm sure it's gonna help you because even looking at his sign up form, he followed what I'm teaching and it worked. So if you want an audit like this, let me know. I'm gonna do it for completely free and cover everything you need to know. Other than that, thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and learned quite a lot. If you want to watch my other video, make sure you do it. It's gonna be recommended by YouTube. And talk to you soon. Cheers.